given where you are in the standings, obviously you want to be as close to the top as possible. First and fourth do feel like the big spots that are up for grabs. For Cloud9, they're obviously gunning for first. Have to win here to maybe get a tiebreak, or you can hope Team Liquid fumbles against TSM at the end of the day, which of course feels pretty unlikely given the standings of those two teams, but you never know.
We've had a lot of unlikely games, I feel like, over the last little while. You know, I mean, 100 Thieves coming so hot off this big C9 win, then loses today. No one would have really expected that against Dignitas. We saw C9, you know, drop a pretty big game. TL dropped a pretty big game recently. So a lot of these teams have had some pretty big upsets. You know, the bottom of the league is still very competitive. When they are on, they can be on. It's just the consistency, I think, that plagues some of these teams below the top. But going to be interested to see how FlyQuest can perform here today. Early Lee Sin pick. It's a big pick for Blaber, but it's also a big takeaway from Jose, who is incredible on it. The Tryndamere feels almost guaranteed to be top. We had been getting some Tryndamere mid a while back, but hasn't really been the C9 style, so it does feel like they're just going straight towards it. With the Gnar and the J-Span, someone is happy to go towards it, and they're going to actually double lock their solo lanes here, so you can only actually have one counter pick for the solo lanes, because then the next round of bans, C9 can protect their other solo laner. So I think it's actually kind of an interesting choice here, because often what happens is if you actually first round one of your solo laners, then they get a counter pick here on 3, and then you have to get another counter pick on 5. So this way they're kind of mitigating that. Malphite coming through, I think, is really smart if they're going to lock this in, and they are. So Malphite already, you're against Lee Sin, you're against Tryndamere, and it's LeBlanc as the AP source. You're not expecting there to be like a Ziggs bot or something like that. So armor stacking and health is going to be really all you need. LeBlanc is not going to threaten a Malphite who has 3,000-4,000 health. You know, it's not the target you're going to be looking for. So I think a really good early pick here from Kumo, but it does mean C9 potentially could throw some bans towards toucouille if they're worried about any particular matchup.
I mean, just on recency, Summit's performance versus Malphite didn't go so great. His worst game of the split was very recently against this champion.
0-7-1, I believe.
Not the best.
Solo killed by Someday.
Yep.
He got absolutely spanked in that one. So we'll see if he can turn into better performance. It's very rare to see Summit kind of drop the ball like that. You know,
that many times.
Exactly. He always gets one per game, and I maintain he always has one really funny play per game. We'll have to see if he does this time around, or if he'll make a liar out of me after having more than one yesterday. Maybe he's going to kind of try to compensate here today and just turbo stomp the game. But it's actually no mid lane bans, so it's more bans towards marksman here for C9. Very interesting, because they haven't actually picked their marksman either. It may be just saying, hey, Berserker is actually more flexible than you. We think that we're going to be able to kind of create this advantage. It does mean that there is a full suite of counter picks available here for toucouille. They banned out Syndra, of course, in the first round. Vex is considered a very strong option. It's kind of the new age of the Aftershock Lissandra. When LeBlanc jumps in, if you have your fear prepped, you just W immediately, you get the shield, you fear him up, and you can have that electrocute trade coming through. Of course, every time he dashes as well, you get the passive proc with the Gloom auto that does bonus damage there too. So it's a pretty nice matchup. You can get the push once you have some levels as toucouille, but still dangerous when you're up against Lee Sin plus LeBlanc. Really strong kill pressure there. Is it going to be a ranged support paired up with it? With Karma banned off, it feels like it's just going to be engaged, because they don't really have any primary engage anyway. So this to me kind of reads like you just want Berserker chilling by himself on Ezreal, and Winsome's actually going to move from lane and try to play with Lee Sin, try to get this Tryndamere and this LeBlanc ahead, because that feels like really the key kind of components here. And that's more C9 style anyway, is Berserker kind of just chilling, farming out lane, and then being a monster in team fights. That's really where they kind of succeed. Whereas, you know, when you look towards FlyQuest, it's more about trying to play through Johnsun and Aphromoo, trying to get them ahead and really kind of have their success through bot lane.
Yep, have seen Winsome on Alistar at least once already, but it's actually one of his better games, as Misfortune is the final pick up for Johnsun. It has been a minute since I've seen this champion.
It has been a long time, and MF has so many different builds that you don't really know exactly what you're going to see. There's on hit, there's like these AP hybrid builds, there's full lethality for like the kind of ultimate one shot. They have really good setup for MF though, with Nautilus to lock you in place, with Malphite ultimate, even potential stuns from Viego, the fear from Vex. Like, they have a lot to hold you in place, and if you get locked into that full MF ulti, you're going to be in trouble.
Certainly are. So pretty fun one here. Excited to see these two twins battle. Different priorities here, but still playoffs in mind for both. Let's see what happens. Cloud9 going to be taken on FlyQuest.
I'm hit! Armor reduced. Out of mana. Low HP. Where's my support?
Chill, Grubhub delivers convenience.
Oh, do they? Game on.
Get $10 off your convenience item order of $20 or more with code LCS Goods.
Let's get gaming, Azael. It's time. C9 versus FlyQuest. Still got first on the brain for the Cloud9 fans for FlyQuest. It is a toss-up between where in the 4 through 6 you'll finish. Some of those numbers are better than others, I can tell you that much, especially with the 16 playoff being a lot more condensed than the summer will be.
Absolutely. It's going to be a really interesting one. You know, very different styles of composition. Cloud9 very clearly want to play through sides. They want to be set up in a 1-3-1, utilize Blaber and Winsome to move around and kind of get those soul lanes ahead. Whereas FlyQuest really just want to group and wombo combo. Like Malphite ulti, Nautilus ulti, Vex flies in, everything happens at once, and they want to try to really just erase you with that. It is going to be very much a rune setup kind of geared towards laning here for Johnsun. He is Comet, he is Scorch, he's also playing even Absolute Focus, so you know everything towards kind of the early game poke there, playing Biscuits as well, so we'll see if they can create themselves a nice little lead here on that bottom side, and if Winsome is roaming, if they can actually try to punish Berserker.
Yep, curious to see how really all the matchups play out, but Soul Lane's obviously always a fun one for the C9 side.
And it's one of those things where Malphite is one of my favorite picks into you know AD heavy comps, as this is very AD heavy. But one of the things that you have to be really wary of as the Malphite in these kind of things is if you lose the push early, as you often do as Malphite, a stacked wave into a dive early is very, very detrimental to your game. That can put you behind enough that you can actually get really screwed. So we'll see if that's going to be the situation here. Someone's going to retreat back and should be able to use a spinning splash to pick up these CS, but actually just going to keep hitting him. He doesn't even care.
Kicking in there. Kumo with the W looking decent for the first few autos, but Summit is going to win out on that early trade.
Yeah, and here's the thing is that Tryndamere actually has sustained, right? So he popped his potion here, so I would say, you know, the trade is pretty even, or maybe even Kumo favor right now, but as Summit gets level 2, and he's actually just playing for experience, he's going to get the Q leveled up, he's going to be able to play for that Q spam, and just right now it's all about just denying the wave, and there you go. Levels up, gets his Q, and as long as you are maintaining access to that wave, you'll be able to just constantly have the Fury high and just continually take these trades. And it's going to be a while until Kumo kind of gets enough armor to really stabilize this lane. So he has to be careful he doesn't take too much damage, so there is no chance of a stack and dive, because Blaber is moving up here. The wave is pushing too fast, to be honest, to be able to go for it on this stacked wave. But, you know, potentially off the bounce, he could also be in danger.
Yeah, I was just like laser focused on all the low health caster creeps. And a couple of them did fall with that Kumo hitting him, so
he pushed too fast. So he's not intending to dive on this one for sure.
But at least denying some resources here. Summit, as you can see, still leading in XP as well with some
Blaber's coming up.
Excellent zoning. Blaber is on the way, as you mentioned, though.
So they are actually going to try to dive on this next wave. So they're waiting for the next wave to crash. So it wasn't that earlier wave as we were talking about, but it is going to be on this wave. They're going to actually look for it. But Kumo has gotten experience, so he is 3. This is a tough dive, I think.
Big wave, but big health bar on the Malphite side as well. Kumo does have the shield. Blaber, in we go. Safeguards there. Going to launch on in. The Q hits, and Kumo now going to have a TP in to protect him. Blaber a little too low, and now Kumo maybe can jump in to turn it back around. Toucouille's here, but Blaber's going to get away.
Okay, not bad. I mean, it is just basically the flash for the TP and Ghost. So, you know, they do force that out of Toucouille. It doesn't put Kumo that behind. The one thing is Kumo actually kind of has to focus on surviving and not farming, so he loses a little bit of CS. The big loss there is actually that Toucouille loses TP.
Big face check there. JoseDeodo with the perfect timing onto Berserker. Q's going to land, slows out Berserker, but Aphro's taking way too much damage. Thankfully, the turret's not going to kill him. Ignite's barely not enough.
Oh, he leveled up. He leveled up there. I'm not sure if he would have actually gone down without that, but got a little bit dicey as the early trade looked really good on Berserker, but in the end, he doesn't even have to use a summoner, and it is both flash and heal down for FlyQuest, so ends up going the other way. But Jose wrapping around again. They're not expecting the repeat gang.
Another one. Here we go. Ooh, not yet. Nope, backs away. Decides there's no angle.
Yep. With the cow there, man, if you go in at that angle, you're going to get headbutted in the tower.
Not a good look. Aphro already knows. He can warn him. Jose, don't do it. It's not a fun time.
He's done it to enough people that he knows what that looks like, for sure.
All right, well, Summit still with the XP lead. Mid lane, actually, relatively even beautiful fear there by toucouille. Kind of what you were saying, like it's inverse Lysandra, right? You're not that tanky, but very easy to hit LeBlanc, which is going at you.
Yep, and you are deceptively tanky with the W shield, right? Because you know, yes, if you can't get that off, you're going to be pretty squishy. But even in the early levels, the W is going to be a shield that's going to absorb at least like a full auto, maybe even a Q depending. So it's reasonably strong in the early levels, but just trying to get those points into Q, be able to get the push here, just continually shove in that LeBlanc. And anytime LeBlanc dashes in with your passive, you get that Gloom auto that's going to kind of help reset the fear and also gives you bonus damage on it. So it's quite a good matchup there for Vex. And we're seeing more Vex into some of these nice matchups like the LeBlanc. So it's been fun to see it get mixed in, though. I will say, largely it doesn't feel like we've had a lot of pop-off games for Vex. We've been seeing it more, but haven't really seen it dominate yet.
Yeah, I can think of Abba had a recent Vex game that was kind of big. Pala had a decent Vex game recently for CLG, but yeah, we haven't seen that much Vex. Certainly feels like it's a champion that's been a little later to the LCS, so it is nice to see it more now. toucouille's lane is going very well so far, but CS lead's not really amounting to much, just Fudge going to TP back into the wave.
And you got to give him credit because he TP'd away from his lane, right? So if you're actually laning even and you had to TP up to actually defend topside, well, Fudge just TP back. That is the advantage. So that little bit of pressure definitely helping him out. Berserker trying to hold on to that dash until he was at the mini wave. May have to flash. We'll see if he can sidestep, but...
Oh, we got him! Aphromoo! He's going to get the root on the other end. Good patience there. That might be enough. That is it! First blood over to Johnsun.
Aphro played that so well. Just completely waited out. It's boots to no boots. So he's not going to hook early. He's going to walk up for the passive auto there for the root, but now it's a 50-50.
The dragon reset. Time to flip! Lee Sin's going to win it. The smite is good. Winsome, though, awfully low. Does get felled by Jose. So 1 kill for the dragon.
Yeah, 1 kill for the dragon, and they get first blood on that bot side. So a nice little injection of gold there for FlyQuest. But yeah, just really well played from Aphro. If you have the move speed advantage, that's how you want to play it. Berserker is waiting for you to hook to reactively flash. He has the mechanics. He's going to flash that 10 times out of 10. So Aphro says, well, I don't need to hook. I'm faster than you. I'm just going to walk at you, going to get the guaranteed root auto. So that forces him to go for the early flash. And then he had him kind of pinned to the tower where there wasn't really an angle for him to dodge. So just really well played there by Aphro, who's now going to move mid to help cover this as toucouille is trying to get the reset. His jungler is there. His support is there to cover. Nicely done. Going to get him that reset, knowing he doesn't have the TP. It becomes even more important. So a little trade there from Berserker, going a bit aggressive. And it is going to be lethality, kind of hinting towards that obviously with the comment, but we can watch this one more time. Yeah, it's just move speed advantage. Berserker has already used the shift. He's trying to sidestep, but every time you sidestep, you're actually just allowing him to close the gap that much more. Nautilus doesn't need to do it early. It's basically the same process that you can use with Blitzcrank, where you just actually wait for your Turbo Fist. If you're faster than him, make him use his jump first and then hook.
Yeah, definitely the threat of the hook is usually better than the hook itself, unless
especially
the hook
if you suck.
Yes, that's true. Never throw it and you'll never miss.
Exactly.
Hot tips from Azael. Fudge and Blaber onto toucouille.
Uh-oh.
Little Gloom proc. There's the Q. Blaber going in away, but trying to get the damage done. That's more than enough. Beautiful chain from Fudge. Sets it up for Blaber.
Yeah, and that was actually really smart. You'll notice that C9, they didn't go in at the same time because they don't want to get hit by the same fear, but Blaber in trouble now.
Good kick. Very late, but...
The burn?
Necessary. Still not enough. The burn is there, and Jose's going to grab the trade kill.
Yeah, it just ends up going down. That is the power of the challenging smite and a red buff on top. That burn was serious there, but yeah, Cloud9 did a nice job because Vex had the fear ready. You'll notice that they send in Fudge, they wait till the fear is used, then Blaber goes in on the vault, because if they both go in at the same time and they both get feared away, likely Vex can just walk it out. So a nice little layering there, but a good counter kill from Jose, who's off to a pretty good start on the Viego.
Summit also, as we check back in, looking pretty good. 20 CS up in the lane. Started to get at least 1 plate, looking like 2 there, as he's just, at this point, ignoring the Malphite. Yeah, you can't kill him, but that's fine. The tower's worth more gold right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And the biggest thing is that Kumo is right? And this is one of the problems with Malphite is, like, because he had a bad early base, if you can't actually afford tier plus armor, he wanted to go armor to make sure he could live, as Winsome will be forced to flash there, but should...
Oh, the hook's good. No, that should be enough. Winsome, no ulti. Alistar very squishy. 1 lost order needed. toucouille's good for it. And JoseDeodo going for the combo. That was sick.
Pushes Berserker back. Is Aphro coming in with the hook there? Yeah, I thought he was just going to walk it out, but nicely done. Yeah, Kumo's just doomed, right? Essentially, he couldn't afford a tier plus enough armor to really feel safe in the lane, so he just went pure armor. And then as Summit, you just force him to spend his spells on trading, on last hitting. You tax the mana pool. you are resourceless here. You're just going to keep healing up, keep taxing that, and once he zoom, he cannot last hit that easily. It's actually pretty difficult to keep the wave off your tower, so Summon has just been relentless on pushing this in, and Kumo is really starting to kind of lose control. I mean, it's like if Tryndamere walks up like that and you try to spend your spells on him to push him back, then you're actually going to mess up your CS. And if you just get the CS, well, then he's going to take plates. So Summit pushing the pressure pretty heavily here.
Bottom side, of course, is kind of the opposite end of the coin for FlyQuest. They are up overall as a team, 1,200 gold, which is a testament to Johnsun getting those 2 kills and some good plays around mid and bot, because let me tell you, the top lane diff is not healthy right now for the FlyQuest side, and they're even going to look for a dive here. Fudge and Winsome here to defend, but can't really do much as LeBlanc and Alistar.
Yeah, and especially because toucouille's missing from mid, right? So they see toucouille go missing, and we have this kind of line of vision here, you know, across this area, all from FlyQuest there, and that is so that they can protect these roams. So anytime Vix goes into fog, Ezreal cannot face check that. So as soon as he goes into fog, Cloud9 have to pay respect that it could be that setup for the 4v2. So they back off, they lose more plates. Essentially, the entire gold lead right now is just Johnsun, and it's going to be one of those games that starts feeling like it's going to be a tale of 2 lanes, right? It's kind of the Summit show versus the Johnsun show. Who can really get more done? Because there's a lot of pressure now on Johnsun to make good with that lead, while Kumo's getting pounded up in that top lane. Summit's going to have to try to continue to extend that advantage.
Yeah, you can see Eclipse done now for Johnsun. Also, Sundra done for JoseDeodo. So the 2 kind of big gold leaders on FlyQuest.
Big man on
early game,
campus.
getting those early items. Dragon up in 7 seconds. It's a Cloud Dragon if we want to have a scrap for it, but no vision for Cloud9 as FlyQuest are invading for vision in C9's jungle right now. Fudge looking for Aphro. Aphro not 6. Winsome with a good double pulp. He's 6 now as well. Aphro is low. Blaber going to dive back in, and that's an easy kill for Fudge.
Yeah, Aphro going wide on that hook. I'm not sure if he was predicting a distortion to the side there or what, but either way, Fudge connects, Aphro does not. And C9, with the extra members in the area, they come in and they punish big time. Kumo now has purchased up a bit of mana there with the Glacial Shroud, and it looks like someone is saying, all right, you can hold the tower, so now it's time to just start actually proxying the wave, potentially taking away jungle camps, just making it even more annoying, you know, and just really trying to continue keeping that pressure up. If he wants to play heavily to sides, I think he's going to go Kraken this game. I actually think Kraken is incredibly good on Tryndamere. In a lot of cases, it's kind of underrated. Both the attack speed passive is very powerful, especially with lethal tempo, to get that stacked up even faster. But of course, the true damage as well against an armor stacker is really, really valuable. If he wants to kind of just pressure side, push, and then move, we may just see him go Gale Force instead, because being able to connect on Johnsun is going to be a lot easier with that.
Certainly so, as it is going to be Ocean Rift and Ocean Soul for this game, but FlyQuest split the Drakes, offer their bottom lane control, so nicely done for them to make sure Cloud9 can't get that particular objective snowballing. Blaber is just hidden right now. The extended brush of this rift actually giving Blaber a little bit of extra leeway in towards FlyQuest jungle. Looks a little funny, but there is brush there as Blaber and Summit are going to take this red buff.
Yep, he is one with the jungle, taking it away, stealing those camps. But again, on the bottom side, it's just this continual punishment here that they are enduring. Johnsun did the tier start, so he's going to have a very early stacked tier. Of course, Berserker got one pretty early as well, so you know he's going to be equal to that. But it will be a fast 2 items here for Johnsun, and then it's just going to be about setup. Like, can you actually lock people in place for him to make that happen? toucouille doesn't quite have the ulti.
Yeah, it's just barely not off cooldown. And there's JoseDeodo coming in as well to reinforce, but there is no dive. Probably just covering there in case Blaber wasn't there. We know Blaber was just topside though. Dropped the Herald there, giving Summit that first tower, which actually gives them the gold lead temporarily. FlyQuest now flipping it back to 500 ahead as Johnsun's going to collect money on the other side. But still, if the C9 plan has to be, you know, make Summit as huge as possible, he's off to a very good start with that first tower gold.
Yeah, he absolutely is. And if he goes Kraken and he wants to hard commit to side lane,
do it.
I really think that Kumo should just go Warmog second. It's something that people are so underestimating. If you're playing a tank into a melee split pusher, it is Gale Force, so it's a bit more of a middle ground. He may commit to hard to side lane anyway. But if you are playing a tank into a melee split pusher and you go Warmog second, they cannot crack your tower. Like, he went Frozen Heart first, so he would have to actually get a little bit more bonus HP before he could go into it. Because you can basically just walk forward and fully tank them plus the wave before they can get to the tower and spend like 60% of your health every single wave. Then you just wait at the tower, you're full health again, and you just keep doing that. It makes it almost impossible for them to actually push up and take towers. It forces them to have multiple members to try to push you off or dive you. So it is a really, really strong kind of underutilized answer. Of course, going Frozen Heart first would delay that, and he's picking up another Cloth Armor, so I think he's probably just going to go Mythic second and likely into just like Randuin's, full armor stacking. But I do think Warmogs is really underrated in a lot of cases. Also against poke teams. Like, we see so many poke teams, and I just think people still haven't adapted to the fact that it's like, even Fighter Mythic plus Warmogs gets you Warmogs active.
Oh, he's just flashing on him. Vex ulti's going to hit the Mimic. Right on in. There's the W. Not quite enough range on the Fudge, and here's Blaber, but no turnaround to be had. Just covering for Fudge, who does get away.
Yeah, flash for flash there. Jose and Fudge will trade. Nice little bit of pressure. As they're just kind of they've had Fudge down towards this bot lane a lot, so I think they were pretty concerned about Berserker getting safe farm, and that's why they moved him up. Was struggling a bit in this lane against Johnsun, with the Comet MF, with the early advantage. So they've largely had LeBlanc down there, even in kind of atypical situations. Like, we saw that posture for the dive, and that was a 2v4, not with the Ezreal and the Alistar. That was, the Alistar and the LeBlanc actually defending that tower, even pre the tier 1 going down. So kind of utilizing Fudge to tank that pressure, and this is something that the desk was talking about. Blaber in the interview talking about how Fudge was kind of this most generous or giving mid laner that he had played with, and this is an example of that, kind of taking the less desirable lane assignment, allowing Berserker to secure his farm in mid lane, and making sure that Berserker is going to be set up well for success later on.
Also, Cloud9 have moved Summit to the bottom half of the map. Makes sense. There is a tower that's quite a bit easier to attack there for Tryndamere. So Summit just going to settle on down to the bottom half of the map. There is also the first Ocean Drake of this rift coming up in a minute 10. So if the teams want to fight for that, Summit's going to be down there nice and early. Doesn't have TP. As a reminder, does have kind of double combat, double mobility summoners there for the Trynd. So does have to walk to objectives rather than TP on in.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why it's so important to constantly have the push. If you're not going to be playing teleport, you want to lock them out their tower and kind of make them pay for teleporting away, either with tower plates or towers going down, or at the very least the loss of minions. Cloud9 here on that top side though will secure the Herald, and we'll see if anyone wants to start scrapping over these dragons, as it is going to be an Ocean Soul game, so pretty valuable, but it's been very low prio on the dragons early on. So it's kind of just really up to one team or the other to start prioritizing them and try to draw them towards them. And I think it's more important for FlyQuest to do it, given that they're really kind of set up for 5v5. So if they can get this vision, establish that around the dragon as they're trying to get all these key boards down, and try to have this kind of way to pull Cloud9 to you and force them to fight.
You mentioned Warmogs, of course. Ocean Soul has some similarities to the regenerative power of that item, and there is plenty of poke on the C9 side, especially looking at Ezreal as always. toucouille is chilling in a potential 1v1. Fudge going to land the chain. toucouille getting bursted down. Fudge, does he have the 1v1 angle? It's looking close, but not going to go for it just yet. Last Q's not enough, so toucouille's going to get away.
Yeah, nice little bit of pressure though. And with the Herald, that means they get tier 2. No one's actually going to be able to respond to this. Malphite's down bot side. I don't think he's TPing in to try to save this, so should be tier 2 gone. It will be this traded for the dragon on the other side. FlyQuest had a good setup with the vision. So Cloud9 want to play towards sides, just try to extend a gold lead before they potentially have to 5v5, because their comp really isn't built that well for it. Theoretically, Summit, who is very rich, he can have that fight where he just like gets onto the backline and kills them off, but Winsome in trouble now.
Ulti's going to follow Berserker, just barely gets out of the way, but I don't think Winsome's going to live to tell the tale. Kumo flies on in for the execution ulti.
That's a lot spent, but they're going to try to get more off this. So, if you can get the tower, it's pretty worthwhile. And I think they should be able to. We see that Summit is shown bot lane. We know he doesn't have TP, so they commit a lot to get this kill. They push in, they take the tier 1. FlyQuest doing a good job here. But yeah, it's gonna be really tough to actually try to pin down some of these carries on the other side. Summit, if he can get in on a Johnsun and kill him off, that's great. But with Nautilus and Malphite and Viego and the fear from Vex as well, all pinning you down, it seems pretty tricky.
Ooh, actually, I like this. Fudge shadowing the bottom side now. Kumo going to be the target. Like you said, it's very tanky on the armor side, but Kumo not so good against the LeBlanc, and Summit's just going for it. He's just going to send it. He's got the ulti at the ready, and this should be a kill. The dive is good. Summit is going to flash in to finish it off.
Yeah, flashing over the hook there. Does get the kill, just has the chase down. They knew he had no ulti. He committed that mid lane, so with the ghost, yeah, he flashes out, but you're just going to tank up that tower and go for it. And Fudge now going back in here on Aphro.
Oh, that's so much damage, but the burst isn't quite enough. Aphro just tanky enough to live there. Ezreal ulti's going to cancel the back. Nope, yep, steps out of the way. Doesn't get hit. Probably wasn't going to die, but doesn't want to chance it.
Yeah, but he wasn't caught slipping. He wasn't caught shopping. That's the important part there. I had eyes on the Ezreal ult, spots it, steps out of the way. So nicely done there by Aphro. but another kill on the board, and now the quick blades come through, which can be so frustrating to deal with in a side lane because it's giving you those constant spins, reducing the basic cooldowns every time you get a crit. Tryndamere with these 2 items becomes nearly impossible to kite, it always feels like.
Certainly in a 1v1, right? In a team fight, they probably have enough crowd control, but definitely, I mean, I think at this point, especially given to what you've been talking about the power of FlyQuest 5v5, I think Cloud9 would prefer not to have to 5v5 if this game can help it. And given the situation right now, they got 1,500 gold ahead. They're splitting those dragons. Summit's feeling good. He's very rich from the top lane. I think at this point, certainly Summit can, you know, do this 1-3-1 with Cloud9.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also like them overloading the one side as they're going to try to get Fudge here again. Nice flash.
Oh, can't flash this though. Nautilus ulti, the great equalizer. Vex is going to zoom on him, but the CC's not quite long enough. Merktred maybe saving Fudge's life there.
Yeah, and they're on the Baron again. He's just soaking so much pressure. He's even TPing over here to the Baron. They're going to try to rush this down.
Malphite ulti, there's 2. MF ulti over the top as well. Summit is going to be forced to get it, and the MF ulti steals the Baron. Blaber, he had to smite. He was so low, Kumo's going to die, but the steal from Johnsun's going to save that play.
Yeah, exactly. It looked like he had to smite for health. With Kumo flying in with the ulti, MF over the wall. Blaber's forced to early smite, and the Baron, it went down to, I want to say, like 60 or so. And it's actually the MF that takes it, which is so bad for C9, who thought they had the angle for such a good play cross map here. Instead, they lose 2 tier 2 towers. They lose the Baron as well. That one really, really hurts because it puts FlyQuest in such an easy spot to actually defend the Baron now. So we can watch this one more time. Full commitment to this. Berserker even ulting it. Let's watch Blaber's health. How low does he get? So the Baron is at 3K. 2K, yeah, Blaber had to die. Yeah, he was gonna die. He even Gore Drinkered first before the smite to try to delay it as long as possible. That is not a poor smite. He is dead on the ground if he doesn't smite at that point. And that was so close. It went down to, I want to say, like 64 or something like that. So really good call by Kumo and Johnsun to just pressure him. Even though their jungler's not there, they had the angle to burst him down, force out that early smite, and Johnsun gets the Baron, and FlyQuest now fully in control.
And before that happened, it was Cloud9. They were up 1,500 gold. After that, FlyQuest are up 1,500 gold.
And it's hard to push into Baron. This is the thing. It's like, it's such a big swing in the game because if 1-3-1 gets Baron, all of a sudden Tryndamere is enabled to really take all these towers.
Yeah.
And you're kind of bleeding an inhibitor maybe, and then the game is in an awkward state because you're locked into your base. You can never leave, and LeBlanc and Tryndamere are doing all these backdoor shenanigans. With that steal, it's the swing of 3K gold because it's plus 1.5K to FlyQuest for taking it instead of negative 1.5K, right, for C9 taking it. And so we're going to see maybe a pick here on Winsome mid.
More engaged. Alistar forced to put the ulti. Vex is going to ride on in. The damage is still enough through the alley ult. It's Aphro that picks it up.
Another good pick, but yeah, you just can't push into those Baron minions. They help you defend the towers so much. So Cloud9 in a lot of trouble now. FlyQuest is going to get another dragon.
Yeah, toucouille found him. That burst is massive on the Blaber. No fear, thankfully, but Blaber's going to live. Berserker trying to counter ulti is to push them away, but there's still 30 seconds left on this Baron.
Yeah, and this is Soul Point now. Soul Point with the Ocean Soul. So, you know, you grab that up. They have a much tankier front line, of course. We've seen Winsome die a lot this game. Not even in like super crazy positions, but Cloud9 has just kind of lost control of the map. And because they're so committing to the 1-3-1, to the side lanes, and FlyQuest has really good engage. Like, they are willing to spend everything on an ulted Alistar because LeBlanc and Tryndamere can't respond, right? So they're not concerned about over-indexing on that, about wasting all their cooldowns and then having a fight right after it. Cloud9 can't really 5v5, so like, yeah, sure. Vex ultimate, Nautilus ultimate, MF ultimate, throw it all in there. Who cares? Get the kills.
Seems to be Tukey time.
I think it's always Tukey time.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the secret, you know?
That's the secret.
Winning, losing, they're playing, they're not playing, it's Tukey time, baby.
Awake, asleep,
Yep.
gaming,
Yep.
eating. All right, well, Jose feeling pretty good. 1-0-4, not a bad scoreline to turn in, but it is Johnsun still alongside Kumo that really saved a game that was trending in C9's direction, certainly far from over, even with the advantage Cloud9 had, but they flipped the game completely on its head. Soul Point now, gold advantage still for them as C9 are looking. Now someone's involved in the 5v5. Afro's going to be the target, but that damage onto Summit. He's going to force a pretty early ulti, till Afro's going to die. Jose's trying to put out of position, but Jose is going to keep on going. Kumo has the ulti at the ready. Can they find someone to click on? No, they cannot. It's one kill for C9.
Oh, yeah, they're going to be able to get out. Man, that was really close because Johnsun just didn't quite have his ulti. When they actually push it on that angle, trying to cut through that side brush over by the Raptors, if he had his ultimate, I think Cloud9 get roasted, but they did not. It is just the one kill, though, but they forced the TP out of Kumo, and Kumo couldn't find an engage, so that is a big deal. Because now it has to be Vex almost answering the sideways, which is, you know, more something that could get punished potentially here. You know, this is a very squishy Vex. He does not have a zone use or anything like that. So potentially, if someone gets a kill there, that's a way to kind of really start poking and prodding and pulling FlyQuest apart. Because as it stands, it's 3 minutes until Ocean Soul, and Cloud9 are not even close to being set up to 5v5.
Nope, and they're going to be forced to, it looks like here. Grudge done for Summit, but he really just is the one alone atop the Cloud9 Gold Mountain. Makes sense, given his ID, but gonna have to try and make something happen in the side lane. Rank 3 ulti at the ready, can keep pressuring side lanes until, as you've said, that Soul arrives and FlyQuest will effectively force Cloud9 into a 5v5 that they pretty much didn't want since the game started.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say I'm a little bit surprised that Fudge went Void Staff second, you know, instead of just going something a bit more aggressive like the Shadow Flame. You know, he is solo AP, so I think in these situations, you really want to be looking for those one-shots, right? You're not going to be winning by hitting the Malphite anyway. It's like, you know, being able to 100-0 the Vex or the MF, someone like that, is really going to be the game-changing play that you kind of need. So a bit surprised as the solo AP to see him doing that. Either way, Cloud9 still continuing to try to deny vision, to push out these lanes, to force FlyQuest to respond to them, and pull FlyQuest away from where they want to be, which is Group 5s.
Summer flank? Oh, no, not going to go into the brush. A little too scary with toucouille having a lot of burst, although Summit is now going to chase on in and at least force a slow there and just be a nuisance here for FlyQuest. You do know they have to hang around the Baron. Cloud9 were very willing to start it last time, and it was a nice ult combo that just barely stole it away, so have to be aware.
Yeah, you absolutely have to pay that respect that Cloud9 are willing to take those risky plays, but likewise, you know, FlyQuest stole that Baron away from you with 2 people. If they have everyone there, they have so much AoE engaged. If you go into the pit with Malphite, Vex, MF around, that is scary stuff. But Johnsun caught!
A flank, but a good stopwatch there. Johnsun not going to be the target, but Summit's going to spin on in. They need to get this kill, and they will. It's Fudge able to find the shutdown. Now Aphro's just going to be left down the front line, and Nautilus can do nothing but die. Cloud9 find 2 around the Baron.
That is massive for them, and they're going to turn right to the Baron. It's exactly what they needed. Fudge finding that pick onto Johnsun, who just barely did not have the flash, and at a timing where they're going to be able to get Baron and grab that dragon during the Baron power play here. So push out the lanes, secure this dragon, stave off Soul. That'll buy Cloud9 a lot of time and a lot of gold here. Such a big deal to find that pick. Johnsun was the key member here. They found exactly who they needed, and Fudge having a really strong game.
Another Red Bull Baron, another swing. Here in this game as we watch this angle from Fudge, a beautiful flank.
Yep, he finds that over the wall, flashes in to try to get the bonus damage there to get everything down, but the stopwatch was available for Johnsun, so he just snaps it back. Then they get that follow-up kill there on Aphro. FlyQuest was just not established as this 5-man squad. So now it's up to Cloud9 to push in the waves here and then try to be first towards that dragon. FlyQuest, though, may still be down to just fight this. Johnsun has his ult very shortly, and his sums are going to be back up. Everyone else really has their summoners available besides Aphro, so I think FlyQuest still want to scrap, Baron buff or not. And they're going to force Cloud9 to come to them and try to force them to win a 5v5, which is going to be really, really tough. We'll see if Blaber can maybe steal this dragon or something, because Ocean Soul would be probably doomed.
Summit also with a big flame, but Winsome an easy target for FlyQuest to start out on. Does
behind.
toucouille goes in, but here's Summit again. Fudge also trying to pincer on in, and Cloud9, they may have found a toucouille. Going to be a target, but Blaber, he's just going to get Malphite ulted into oblivion, but Summit is just going into the thick of the enemy backline. He is trying to 1v5. He's taken out Kumo, but the ulti's going to run out. He flashed out of the way. JoseDeodo finds a kill on the other side as Johnsun able to grab 2 on the other side of it all. A Berserker, but it's just not enough. Fudge is alive, but not for much longer. Jose finds the outplay, and that's the ace for FlyQuest.
It is indeed Tukey time, the last man standing. It's an absolute bloodbath. 10 men enter, 1 man survives. Jose will reap the rewards. The Ocean Soul here, we can see it again. This was such a close fight here. Fudge going over the wall, trying to chunk Jose out because it initially looked like it might have been a fight for the Dragon, but Winsome stepping forward, really getting focused in on toucouille, even committing the ulti. But as they stack up, Blaber sees the angle to try to go in, but it's the kick flash he's looking for. The Zhonya's there was perfect from toucouille. He immutes the kick flash, so Blaber is stuck in no man's land, can't get anything done, gets burst down. Summit goes forward trying to bail him out, but then Johnsun finding the angle, multi-man ult, knocks him down as Berserker and Fudge are scrapping it up against Johnsun and Jose. They do knock down Jose, but it was all up to him, and he's able to finish it off. Last man standing, smile on his face. He knows that is going to help their chances tremendously in this game. With Ocean Soul in the back pocket, it is really tough to push through those side lanes.
Yep, Jose with a big smile, checks his watch after that play, knows exactly what time it is. And the worst news of all of that play is that not only was the jungler the last one left alive, so Jose can waltz on in and grab the soul that FlyQuest were playing towards, Cloud9 just lost their Baron.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yeah. It didn't really get them much of anything, unfortunately. The gold is still dead even.
Got them a lost team fight.
Yep, not the best reward for sure. But Ocean Soul making the difference here. Thousands of gold of stats there for FlyQuest, and they are built for the 5v5. But C9 really have no options. You still got to continue to split. You can't just turtle up and try to hold the base in 5v5. So Fudge out of the side lane, Tryndamere out of the side lane. You're going to need to get heal cut in there. It's so tremendously important. Fudge did pick up the Oblivion Orb off the back of this, but that's the only thing they have right now. So we're going to need to see more heal cut getting grabbed up here for Cloud9. Because Ocean Soul value is tremendously powerful, especially for some of these champions that are really kind of scrappers, people who aren't going to just like die off instantly, like the Malphite, the Nautilus, the Viego especially.
Viego sounds so gross with Ocean Soul.
You get resets, the Ocean Soul's ticking during that, like you have so much value from it. MF, it's good, but potentially you could maybe 100-0, you're still going to be trying to look for that, but now having that full maw is going to make Johnsun a lot harder to burst down for Fudge, so it becomes more about Blaber, more about Summit, finding that big play.
Yeah, definitely keep an eye on the Cloud9 solo laner still, but FlyQuest are roaming on in. Winsome again, the easy target, because Cloud9 just have no vision. They're trying to roam together and get some, but FlyQuest committing forward to the top side. It's 4v4 right now. Winsome sees the angle. It's Aphromoo that he wants to go for. Berserker with the ulti from downtown does snag a couple. Now Berserker is going to be hit very quickly. Kumo with the TP as Johnsun just takes out Fudge toucouille. Finds the ulti hook. Yeah, ulti on through, and Johnsun finds 2.
Yeah, they get 2, and now they're just going to keep pushing. Notice that Kumo didn't spend the ulti. Oh, that connects. I don't think you take that on Tryndamere, though. He has ulti up, so he can actually turn and kill you. But they can threaten a dive here. They can continue to push through. There's not a lot of wave clear, so I think it's at the very least going to be the inhib. You can see Summit's trying to push out mid frantically because he knows that they could go for multiple inhibs here potentially, and we'll see if they want to try to go for the end. They are posturing for it, so you've got to clear out these minions as best as you can. Summit now returning to the team, but still, it's a 3v4 here. It's a 3v5 when Jose regroups with them.
Yeah, Jose a little too far away. They do manage to kill the wave. TM and Ezreal definitely helping out, as Cloud9 will only lose 1 inhib. Not a great news story for them.
No.
But better than what could have happened, certainly, as FlyQuest will back away very cleanly.
Yep, but it's getting worse and worse, right? It's really starting to be a struggle here for Cloud9. And, they have had a harder couple last weeks. They have been taking some L's kind of unexpectedly. And now, Summit, he's just staying for this. Greedy.
Takes the tower, gets slowed, but is going to get away again. Quick play Tryndamere is awfully hard to pin down, but Fly just going to ignore him.
Yeah, exactly. But he's got to kind of play these types of circumstances. Winsome again. How many times have we seen this game?
Flashes out, does get away this time, but ult flash now burnt. Winsome.
Out of Baron.
Always in the wrong spot, unfortunately, for him. Again, it's just so hard. You have no vision. You have to try and get wards down as support.
But you got to be with your team, right? It needs to be a team effort, and he's kind of just wandering down mid lane by himself. They do have a ward on them there. FlyQuest was looking for the Stern, expecting the C9 would think that they are on Baron. But they could potentially start it up now. When you have Ocean Soul, Baron's damage is nothing, right? Like, you can just stay on that thing forever.
Goodness.
Summit in some trouble here, though.
That's a lot of damage. Going to be forced to burn the ulti. Jose with a beautiful little play, snuck into the little fog that Viego sets up for himself, and FlyQuest with an easy 5v1 kill.
Yeah, that is such a big deal. Richest man on the map, for C9 is now down. They for sure go to Baron now. This is essentially a 3v5 because Winsome is nothing at this point. He has no flash, no ulti. If you go in, you get one combo off and you're dead. And so C9, I don't even think they're going to try it. They just say, yep, got to take the L. The Baron is gone. They're going to give this one up, and they're going to hope they can make something happen later, but their chances are dwindling very, very quickly. FlyQuest will have Baron. They will show up for Elder, and they'll say, all right, what do you got for us now?
Another 5v5, which, as we've discussed, not the territory Cloud9 want to be fighting in this particular game, but the one they will be forced to fight in once again. There is pick potential. There is potential side lane threat. Cloud9 have the tools, but it's just been so tough to crack through a well-set-up 5v5 for FlyQuest.
Yeah, I honestly feel like it's really, really, really hard. As long as FlyQuest do their due diligence and sweep out wards behind them, as long as they have someone like the Malphite marking the Tryndamere so we can't just get a free flank onto your backline, it's really tough for them to do anything, but they're going to try to fight here.
Running at them, and there we go, Kumo, no toucouille flying in, there's Kumo on the backside as Johnsun is going to shut down Berserker. Summit just CC'd to death like he can't do anything, and the rest of Cloud9 are just going to die. It's Fudge that finds the kill onto toucouille, but Blaber goes down to Kumo in the front side of it all. Winsome with a decent pulverize, but like, what are you going to do? It's
There's
3v1.
a turret hitting the Malphite, I swear. His health is just going up.
It's a lie. The turret isn't real. JoseDeodo hunts down Summit, and FlyQuest are going to keep their big playoff seed dreams alive. They will upset Cloud9.
Oh my god, it's a day of upsets here in Cloud9. They drop another one. FlyQuest with a massive win. After yesterday, they had a very disappointing loss, a huge bounce back game for them to come in here against the top team in the league. They lose to Immortals, the 10th place. They come back, they beat the first place. The standings aren't real in the LCS. That is what I am coming away with here. FlyQuest turning a great game. Some big plays out of the FlyQuest bot lane as well. You know, got way ahead early. That was really working for them. Kumo did a great job just surviving up on the top side. The Malphite plus MF stealing away that Baron felt like the turning point. That felt like the pivotal point where it was like, okay, Cloud9 actually can't win through side lane anymore now. FlyQuest set up well around these objectives, showed up, take this soul. Really close fights did kind of edge it out because even that soul fight came down to the last man taking it. That and that Baron. The Baron gets smite to 60 health or 65 health, something like that, because of the pressure put on Blaber. He had to early smite. And that's just it, man. It's these small margins sometimes, and FlyQuest, you know, built for the 5v5, executed it well, and Cloud9, that's, I want to say, how many losses is that now over the last couple weeks? Because they had been absolutely dominating, and then, I mean, it's 3 losses out of the last 5. So it's not like the most damning, but they were at what, like 11-2, 12-2?
Yep.
So it's definitely a bit of a downturn for them. Some surprising games.
Certainly so. Team Liquid, very happy with their prospects to potentially finish first. But with that, it's now time to head over to the stage for our variety.